Welcome to Campfire Conversations. I'm Jeremy Litchfield. Before microphones and media, we had fire. It was the first circle and the first stage. It was where people gathered to connect. This podcast returns to that circle. These aren't interviews. They're heart-centered conversations where love and fear both have space to show up. Campfire Conversations is part of my Heartstrong adventure, a journey exploring where love and fear show up in our world, especially in the lives of men, and how freeing men from fear can help heal individuals, communities, and systems. In this conversation, I'm sitting down with Chris Lombard. 25 years ago, Chris had never been with horses. He was going through a breakup, standing in a barn, when he looked into a horse's eyes and saw something that changed everything. Not excitement, not fear, just contentment, a state of being fully present, fully at peace with life as it was. That moment set Chris on a path he never could have planned. Today, he's known across the U.S. as someone who helps people and horses find connection. He's the author of The Land of the Horses and The Horses in Our Stars. But his work isn't really about mastering horses. It's about learning to follow your heart with a period after that sentence. No attachment to outcomes, no thought of where it will lead, just trust. What we talk about in this conversation goes deeper than horsemanship. We talk about presence, about vulnerability, about the traps so many men fall into of always having to be doing, providing, protecting, about what it means to embrace both masculine and feminine energy, and about how the way we approach horses is really just a mirror for how we approach life itself. We sat around a fire in Chris's backyard in Maine. We talked for over an hour. What emerged is a conversation about how vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the boulder you stop holding up and start standing on. If this work resonates with you, I would love your support. The best way you can do that is to like, subscribe, and share this episode with someone who might need to hear it. These conversations matter, and your support helps them reach more people. Now, let's go to the fire. Chris, really want to just express my gratitude for you sitting down and taking a random email of saying, hey, I wrote this about you. Now will you sit around a fire and have a conversation with me?
I couldn't be more happy to be here.
Yeah, no,
I more stoked.
I so appreciate it. I mean, to be honest, I suspected you were the type of guy that would be open to this type of conversation, and just so grateful. I think I've shared with you that I think my family can officially be called groupies of yours now at the Common Ground Fair. You know, as much as one can have groupies at the Common Ground Fair, but we try and catch every talk. And for me, it's just been something where I learned something new about what it means to be human and humanity every time I see you talk. I think it's amazing that you're talking about horses. I translate everything to, yes, it's about horses, but it's also about being human. And so I'm just excited to dive into some of that with you. I'd love to first start, and it just so happens last night, I finished The Land of the Horses.
Okay, yeah.
I was able to this year get the book at the Common Ground Fair after last year getting elbowed out by a bunch of 70-year-old women. I stood firm this year. So I just finished reading that. So I know, how you got to where you are right now in general, because the book is about that part of your story. I'd love to just hear if, here we are in your backyard sitting around a campfire. Like when you think about some of the kind of the key things in your life that brought you to this moment, what sticks out to you the most?
Following my heart.
Following your heart.
With a pretty good period after that sentence. Meaning like just following the heart and then not having it attached, not having any thoughts of the who, what, why, when, where, how. When I think back to the last 25 years now since I first touched a horse, since I was first around them, I had no thought of what it was going to give me, where it would go, what it would be. I certainly never thought it would have been a job. I was 26. If you had told me I was going to be, I'd never been around horses before. If you had told me I was going to be an astronaut, I would have probably sooner believed that than I was going to someday be working as a person who helps people in their horses. So it was, I look back at it now, and as such the times in our life go where we're not really able to make sense of it in the moment, But then when you get further beyond it, you can look back and it does make sense. I realized it was one of the first times in my life that I very innocently and purely felt my heart and chose to follow it with a period after that sentence, so that any thought about where it was going to lead or how anything was going to happen. And when I look back at the last 25 years, they feel amazingly deep, but it also feels like it's gone by in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Like how time can really condense and feel like a dream when you're following your heart.
Yeah.
And it feels like I'm still doing that today, still connected to that pure, innocent feeling of just saying, let's follow this feeling that feels like it's cosmically placed within you and trusting that it'll take care of you at the same time.
Yeah. What's amazing to me is I mean, you're at that point now where it's going to change, where up to this point, your life has had more of your life has horses in it as has had horses in it. Yeah. When I look at you and the way that I see you engage with horses, it's like they're a part of you. And I liken it to, and I was thinking about this today as I was thinking about this conversation. I am a huge fan of the musician Prince. A lot of people don't realize he's one of the greatest guitarists to ever live.
Yes.
If you watch him play the guitar, it looks like he came out of the womb with a guitar in his hand. It's like an appendage. It's just amazing. And for people who haven't seen you in your presence with horses, I put you in that same kind of way, in the sense of like when you're on a horse or you're engaging with a horse, it's like there's very little separation.
Oh, I loved listening to you speak right there. I'm also a fan of Prince. Loved him back when I was growing up, and then just, I wasn't so much in the years after, but then I've just recently, in the last 5 years, rediscovered him again. I'm like, I can appreciate him so much more now. And so as you speak there, I definitely relate. Because when I do get out there with a horse, I feel like the work I have to do is getting myself out of the way. Just clearing myself and I've come to really use the term hollow bone, a hollow bone where you feel like something is flowing through you out into the world. And it is as much a gift to yourself as it is to the world. And so you feel like it serves all, not just you in that moment. And if I get into my head or think or wonder about how I'm being perceived or wonder what it might achieve for me, that kind of gets in the way of it. As I speak, I have this vision of just watching Prince play the guitar and how he's just lost in it. Mm-hmm. And that is certainly what it feels like for me. It feels like home, a place I know that I've been there before I ever got around horses. I feel amazingly at peace, no matter where it goes. And it feels like love. I'm going to say, to put it into a simple word right there, it feels like love is flowing through me and flowing from the horse to me. And we're coming together to, I'm a whole individual on my own. The horse is a whole individual, whole being on their own, but then coming together into that feeling of connection, it feels like you form a third whole being together. And so all the amazing mysteries of life feel like they're right there, clear, but you can't put words on them, but you can surely feel them. You're experiencing them. When that's flowing through me, it feels nothing short of beautiful. But like I said, that's the work, and it's a constant practice. I feel like we'll go on the whole of our lives of getting ourselves out of the way of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because when we tend to open up a door to experience it more deeply, it tends to coincide with some challenge. It tends to coincide with a lot of fear.
Yeah.
Because you're leaving what's known.
Yeah.
And we tend to want to hold on tightly to that and say, no, I like being where I was. Let's keep it the way it is. And so we tend to get dragged. We tend to get pushed, and a lot of fighting and running and fleeing can take place within us at that moment. So that tends to be the practice, is kind of moving through that process even more deeply every time that cycle comes, to open up to a deeper experience of that love and connection and so on. So it's a journey, and not all the time am I feeling it, because that's life. It's meant to be on a dualistic spectrum of I feel hot, now I feel cold. I feel connected, now I feel disconnected. And so a lot of the work is embracing that disconnection and saying, oh, this is where I'm learning to become even more deeply in tune with it in a place that I've not experienced before.
Yeah. So a few things you said in there. Number one, it's getting out of your own way to let it flow, the energy flow. But I recently read a book. The book's called Love.
Oh.
It's written by he was a professor at USC, and he was kind of known as the love doctor because he wanted to teach a course on love at USC. His name was probably gonna butcher the last name, Leo Vescaglia. Short read, super fast. Someone told me about it. His premise of the book was that we have to learn to love. And I'm not quite sure I agree with that. And as you were talking, it made me, I actually think we're born to love. I think we have to unlearn the things that prevent us from loving, right? Because we put up defense mechanisms. And so when you actually think of it, because you threw love in there, which is, it's like, that's my word, love and fear. That's all I'm thinking about these days. How do you actually look at love? How do you define love? And one of my concerns is, and one of the things I'm trying to hopefully open some eyes to, is that love is not just a thing between people. It's not, that is love, but love is so much more. And when we just make it the Hallmark version, we're preventing ourselves from being our best self. So anyway, how do you think about love? Because I hear you and use that term a lot. It's in your books. Would love to hear a little bit more about that.
Love is the power of the universe. It's in everything. It's in everything. It is everything. It's the grandest power, the grandest gift. And it's the energy that flows of all the universe. So I very much agree with what you were speaking of. I believe we're born from love into love, and our love and always will be love. And we can't not be love. And it's just how much we can kind of get back to that feeling and connection with it. If you'd asked Chris in the late 1980s, though, if you'd asked Chris going from high school to college, watching all these movies and reading these books and seeing all these people hoping to fall in love and then going through tough times and hoping at the end that they come together and love each other, and that's the ending we were all looking for, that Chris would have probably said love is something you have to search for and find. That it's something outside of yourself that you hopefully will get if you meet somebody that gives it to you. And more than likely, this person is in the form of a romantic partnership. That would be love. And that thought right there, I think, creates so much hardship and challenge and discontent within somebody, is that love is out there, but not here yet until you find it out there. When now, if you ask me here, sitting at this fire, what love is, I'd say love is the power of all the universe. And everybody has the power of the universe in them. Everybody is the universe, and it's in their own unique, individual, never to be seen again form, creating their life. And that love is something within yourself that when you, as you said there, Jeremy, when you can clear out all the ways that get in the way of it, the judgment, the self-judgment, the pain, the shame, the worry, the fear, the doubt, all of that stuff, you will find it rises up from within. It's right there. And it might be just a little twinkle at first, a little spark. But if you haven't felt it for a while or known it, that spark can set a wildfire. And the most brilliant thing of the universe is that the infinity of it, that journey never ends. The depth of love you can experience, there's no end to that. There's no bottom to that well. And I notice it when I live here daily and look around at the forest around me. The forest will change as I change and shift and become more in touch with the love that I am and the love that everybody is. What opens up is I'll see that love in how I see the world. And the colors, the fall colors, I'll say, oh boy, they're so brilliant this year, brilliant than last year and the year before. And it's just because my ability to see love is opening up. And the forest is like, oh, these colors, they're always here, Chris. This love is always here. It's just how in tune we can be in it. And so when you can feel what we'd call these days self-love, when you can feel that love, what happens is it just starts to grow and burst from within you, where you just want to share it. It feels like it's overflowing and you just want to share it. And that flips the idea of relationship on its, totally flips the script around from what young Chris thought it would be. Now it's not that I want to go and try and find it. Now I just want to go give it. I want to go share it with somebody and meet somebody who we connect in that unique way that two individuals find each other and connect and can share in love in that way to each other, and then with their whole friends, family, community, and it just kind of keeps moving out from there.
Yeah. So if you were to think back to I guess it would have been 26-year-old Chris, when you, in your book, you talk about that moment where you were going through a breakup and there happened to be a couple horses there, and you looked in the horse's eyes, and all of a sudden that sent you on this journey, and you saw something, and I think you called it contentment. Is contentment in love?
Woo. Yeah,
is that what you
great
saw?
Question. You got it. Great question. I look back on it now, and what I thought was just contentment and peace with life, no matter what was going on. I think in Tibetan they call it drala, D-R-A-L-A, which means beyond the good and bad of things. A state of being where you're not so much, I'm happy because good things are happening to me right now. You're not so much trying to control your circumstances to produce a state of feeling of happiness within. But yet horses, one of their strengths, they're so innately tied to being fully present, fully in the moment, which is very much where doors open. Very few humans, I know I had to work really tough to first experience it, can really exist fully in the moment, where your mind isn't in the past thinking that something should have gone differently so the present moment could be better, and your mind's not in the future hoping that something happens that will then make the future, the present, feel better than it does now, but just fully content with the present moment. There's a space in there, there's a quietness in there, really, no matter what's going on, where there's an inner peace, an inner contentment. And 26-year-old Chris wouldn't have been able to put the words on it at the time. I just knew it felt good.
Yeah.
It felt good. And what I look back on now is what I felt was kind of this inner guidance system that pointed me towards it, that says, okay, these guys are loving life right now. Just sitting there eating. And I don't know what their past was. I don't know what their future is going to be either. And these guys are kind of okay with that. They're okay with that place. They're at peace with everything that brought them to where they are. And they're at peace with where this is going to lead, whatever that may be. And that type of contentment also tends to heal the past. When you are completely at peace with the present moment, you're at peace with everything that brought you there.
Yeah.
And that type of peace in the present also tends to set up a future of the same. And so it's this great kind of let go of the past and future that also innately 100% affects them with however you wish to be in the present moment. And this is where, for a long time, humans would judge animals as not as smart as them, because we have the ability to be in the past or the future in our minds. Yes, that can give us a way to help ourselves with a way of forethought and afterthought, but it is truly also never letting go of that innate being in the moment that animals have, that our true power of creation really comes from.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I'm gonna throw a couple
sticks
on while I'm asking this question. Because I always say I always have a nice takeaway from your talks. And this year it was about presence being the first act of love, right? And I struggle big time with presence and patience, and I'm trying to get better at it. But when you think about in your journey, and particularly, well, interesting fact, I don't know if you knew this, but humans are one of the very few species that can fear something that they've never experienced.
Wow.
Which is good.
Yeah.
And it makes me think, but like when you're fearing something that you can't experience, you're not present, right? Yeah. So the idea of not being present and fearing this uncertain future, or thinking about this uncertain future, I'm usually not fearing things. I'm always thinking about what's next.
Yeah.
Right. What's next, and not being present in that moment. As you think about how you were able to get and move towards being present, and particularly in the presence of horses. Horses are what have done that for you. Yeah. There are certain things that do that for me. A fire, surfing, woodworking. There's certain things. How did that come to be for you? Because I think that is something that a lot of people struggle with, and particularly I think it's something that men struggle with.
Yeah.
Because the act of presence in some cases can be antithetical to the idea of being productive.
Yeah. Being productive, being protective, being assertive, being protective in ways that you feel like you're helping out. The busyness that you feel like you have to be, and the acquiring and providing and the building and the getting that the masculine energy can come from. Like, we feel like we always got to be doing.
Yeah.
Because that's how we can best serve, is in that way of kind of providing. But then, like I said, also protecting and defending. If we're looking in more primal ways, we always got to be thinking. And that is more of that masculine energy, which is much more of an earthly, grounded energy in its strongest form, being a grounded, steady, and, like I said, strong energy there. And the idea is there's that good side of it, and there's that good side of being prepared, which is another strong side of that masculine energy, and being aware of the fight, flight, self-preservational instinct that has its place in this world. I look at the fire and I'm like, I don't want to burn myself. So it would be good if I think about the possibilities of how that could happen. I don't want the fire to also catch to the trees in the field. So it's good for me to have forethought about how that could happen. And the masculine energy, how it can complement the feminine energy of the world, is in that protective way of provision and all of that. So it's about honoring that, I think, in a lot of ways, that I'm like, okay, this is part of me. And it's not just a male energy. We all have the masculine energy in us. Every human being has a composition of what we'd call masculine, feminine energies, and how they kind of co-create together. So I believe in that honoring of it. But then if I can also have it tied into my heart, the feminine side, can I also have it tied into the part of me that is more intuitive, more knowing, more gentle, soft, compassionate, caring, more understanding, more innately knowing, that part from within that understands more the reality of what truly needs to be happening in the moment. And that side then can also say, wait a second, wow, if my masculine side is getting out of balance, that always shows itself when it starts to become intimidating, overbearing, forcing, dominating, And so I'm like, okay, so that means I need to bring it back to that more understanding side of it, that soft, gentle kind of side of it and everything, and bring it back and understand, communicate, see beneath the scenes of why am I feeling that way, getting in touch with why I'm overdoing it as a male, get in touch with why I'm overdoing it, and be able to take a breath, slow down, bring myself back within, again, that more feminine side, connect with myself right there, and understand, like, wait a second, I'm making up a lot of these stories. I'm making up a lot of these things, trying to create a story of what I have to do and be, which can just kind of take us over and take us for a ride. And one of the hardest things to do at that moment is to do what? Sit and stop and get present, breathe, and be in touch with the moment, and be in touch with the heart and that feminine side, the intuition. The intuition say, wait, what's really needed right now? I'm not in danger of getting burned. This fire's not in danger of going out into the trees. Everything's safe right now. I think I could just sit and enjoy myself.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about, both of us growing up in Maine, and Maine is known for the stoicism, not especially among men, and even women. It's like my mom is she moved to Maine when she was 7, but she's Italian, very kind of that whole effusive thing, and she just still doesn't understand the lack of emotion that a lot of Mainers have.
Yeah.
Even women, but men much more so, right? And my dad is your typical Mainer, works hard, doesn't show emotion, and I was raised that way. Boys don't cry. We talked about similar things, and so how did you come to terms with the idea? Because with that upbringing, it's hard to kind of comprehend this idea that we have feminine energy in us, right? Yeah. Because we reject that. We were told to reject that. Culture said, and we have to unlearn those things. Yeah. It's like it goes back to unlearning the things that enable us to love. How did you come to terms with the fact? Was that always kind of in you, or were there some things that helped you realize that balance is so critical to being a whole human?
Yeah. First off, I'd like to just join you in the idea that, like, young Chris in the 80s, who I've referred to a few times, if young Chris in the 80s said, I have a lot of feminine energy in me, well, that would be nothing I would have said back then as a teenager.
It still sounds funny to think of a young man. It does.
My friends always said, what are you saying?
Yeah.
They would have been probably pretty intimidated by that and scared by what that would mean. Now I feel very proud to say that.
Yeah.
I feel very proud in wanting to have that hopefully be in as much balance as possible. We all have our own unique makeup. Every living being has their own unique, never before seen and never to be seen again makeup of masculine, feminine energy, this great combination that we all are. And I think the first thing is to just always get in touch with who you are, who you just naturally are in that, and understand yourself and celebrate yourself. Be yourself and let that fly. And then really doors open up as far as where your heart's going to take you and where your specific gift of who you are to the world best serves and where it goes out there. And then there's also the creative energies at play of masculine and feminine energy. When they're really in balance, that's when you can really create really well. The strength and steadiness and groundedness of masculine energy with the creative intuition, softness, and understanding and communication of feminine energy. Bring them together and you take off. And then where it woke up for me was horses.
Yeah.
Because they're very, they're strong. They're steady, they're grounded, 4 feet on the earth, and they're so strong and capable of what they can do, pulling and riding and thundering across the earth, and all the things they've helped humanity do in building civilization and winning wars and defending, civilizations and all of that. It's very masculine side. But to connect with a horse, you try to come from that masculine hard side, and they fight, they flee. They're intimidated. It turns to that forcing, intimidative, dominative side. Whereas if you come from more of that feminine, sort of intuitive, connective, compassionate, soft, understanding side, boom, horses open right up, and you don't have to get them to come to you. They'll seek you. They go to find you. They open right up, and all the doors open, and you don't have to make them do anything. They will instead offer everything to you. And so in having to learn how to connect with horses, that's where my true feminine side opened up.
Yeah. Well, it was amazing when we walked over before sitting down to see the horses, and Tali came over to me, who at one point she kind of put her nose like right up close, and it was just like there's a feeling there that's really cool. You just can't explain. I've never had a horse do that to me before, and I've been around, not a lot of horses, but I've been around enough. And I think now I'm a little bit more open to it. But it's just so interesting when you just think about the relationship of humans and horses in general. And you were talking about how culture is very different of East versus West. And the fact through much of human history, the relationship between a man and his horse
Mm.
was one of, in many ways, life and death.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I don't think, I mean, I would just love to go back and actually hear stories of how deep that connection probably was.
Yeah.
But the men weren't able to tell those.
Yeah.
Whether it's the cowboys or the we're talking wars, and it's like you're going out and the amount of trust you have to have in each other is incredible. And it just even reminds me of the story when you were on the ranch in Arizona in Alto, who was just like watching that relationship develop I said watching it, I feel like was awesome. And when you went out and you brought Bully back, and just like you're just sitting on the edge of my seat, and just like the relationship that develops there, but that relationship can't develop without you embracing your feminine energy, right?
Yeah.
And it's just so many, and it just seems odd that we have a culture in the East where men aren't open to, or maybe not exposed to the opportunity to tap into that feminine energy.
Yeah.
Because I think for me, what did it was trees. Was nature. And surfing.
Yes.
And running. Those things all did it for me. Yep. Horses did it for you.
Yeah.
And what do you think would make it more accessible for more men to recapture that spirit and that connection with horses that were, I mean, for thousands of years was so critical to our being?
Yeah, it's going to be there. The fear is going to be there with horses because they're so big. So being around them, your fear will come up. First and foremost, the fear of physically getting hurt. And then if you go so far as riding them or doing something with them, then of course the fear comes up again. And so everybody will have that same relationship, and how they deal with it. It's put right on a platter in front of you. Do you try and ignore it? Do you try and dominate it? Do you try and fight it? Do you try and run away from it? Do you not face it? Do you not even want to be around it? So I find horses bring up all fears that could be. Certainly physical, as I just talked about, but then mental, emotional, financial, if you have horse ownership and all of that. So it's going to come up. And so you'll see how an individual deals with their own fear. And for the male side of things in the Western world, as we were talking about, the Western United States, horses are still so tied to work. It's a working atmosphere, the ranch atmosphere. So it's tied to that masculine energy of got to get the job done, got to provide, got to go out and take care of everything. And then there's also a lot of money in horses out there. So it's very much tied to livelihood. Here in the East, in the Northeast in particular, there's no big money in horses, and they're not tied to any sort of working ranch atmosphere or livelihood in any way. So they're mostly falling into that category, I guess what we call it is pet. They're mostly kind of going into that category. It's a hobby. People have horses because they choose to, rather than something they have to do for a living in any way. And so in that regard, and also in the Northeast, people here very much, for the most part, are very responsible for how they treat animals. They very much care about how they treat animals. The welfare, the care of animals is very, very important. And so a lot of people are starting right off from that spot of like, okay, I want to do this from a place of caring for the horses. And also I'm going to do this. Why? Because they're starting right off from that point of just doing it because they're drawn from their heart in the Northeast. So if you notice, those are two very much more on that feminine side of like, I want to do this because it's in my heart and I care about them and I want to do this from a soft, gentle place. And so for males, I find like as a young man, none of my male friends were around horses at all. So if I wanted to be around horses, I had to be more around more of the younger females at that time. And all of my friends, they were all playing in soccer, baseball. They were more involved in sports, which I was very drawn to as well. So I often think that if teenage Chris, if you'd put me around horses, I probably would have felt something magical, but I wouldn't have let go of my life and my friends to go follow it at that time. I wasn't ready. And I think as an older person, I find that all men are drawn to horses. I find that the men in the Northeast really have an interest in them and want to go up to them. And they want to do it right. They want to be gentle with them, but they almost feel clumsy. They don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
They almost feel like they have a fear of not doing it right. And the fear takes them into places of like, gosh, there's this big animal here that I'm feeling afraid of. And I want to learn how to be around this animal in a way that serves us both. And they can feel that journey is a big one to go on, of how to be able to guide this animal from that soft, gentle place. That it puts it right in front of them of like, okay, so I guess I got to go on a pretty good personal journey here.
Yeah.
Of how to work with something so big from a presence-based, connective-based place. And so it can be something that not a lot of guys are actively seeking.
Yeah.
I find they're not actively seeking it.
It's interesting. When you were talking there, it made me think about, I have this, I guess, I'm going to call it a working hypothesis on love and fear.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to avoid having any sort of declarative answers, because I also think that, believing something right now, you still have to keep your mind open to the idea that you could be wrong.
Yeah.
But I kind of landed on this spot in terms of how I'm thinking about love and fear. And I'm looking at fear is our operating system for surviving.
Yeah.
It alerts us to something. Something's wrong. My values are being compromised. My safety, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And love is what helps us thrive.
Yeah.
So fear is always the first response because survival is more important than thriving. However,
oh, well said.
It's like this dance. If you let fear control you, you can't let love come in and you're not going to thrive. And so as you're talking about just even horses in general, because I love how you talk about horses are big, but they don't know they're big.
Yeah.
And as a human, you go up to a horse like, that's a big, that thing could do some damage to me, right?
Yeah.
And so a fear-based way of looking at it would be like, well, I have to control and dominate this thing, right?
Yeah.
And the love-based way would be like, wow, I need to form a deep connection with this thing, and that's going to take a lot of work. And if the fear sets in, it's be like, no, I just need to control and dominate or avoid it.
Yeah. Love it, man. Just listening to you speak right there, and way to diagram it out, way to put a hard topic literally, and you mapped it out. Like it literally looked to me like you were drawing lines between dots. And what I started to think was, I sometimes say to myself, you could take out the word horse and put in the word life. How somebody approaches a horse and works with a horse and everything else is very much to me how we would walk up to life. And so when I think of horses are big, but they don't know they are, I take out the word horse, I just put in the word life. Life, we think that it's big. Life doesn't know it's big. We think it's a big deal. We think life, we want to get this right. Oh boy, and we don't want to have anything go wrong, and we don't want to get hurt. We don't want and life doesn't know it's big though. Life is going to be whatever we make of it. There's nothing greater we'll ever have than our own ability to create our own reality. So you walk up to a horse, you don't have to wait to connect with him. You can just say, I wish to connect with you. And then you just let go. You let go of what that has to look like. You let go of what it has to be. You let go of all those thoughts of trying to control, as you said, and trying to dominate life into making it what you think it has to be to make all of that self-preservation instinct go away. You let go of all those fears that cause us to try and dominate ourselves, each other, life, to control it, to put it into a box. So then we go, okay, now I don't have to fear it. Now I don't have to work on my fears because I've controlled this thing right here.
Yeah.
So now I don't have to go there. And now I can relax. But what you're going to feel is the exact opposite, as you said. You're going to feel not very peaceful. You're going to feel turmoil. You're going to feel all bothered and everything because love is getting stuffed. You're not letting life be life. You're not letting the horse be life.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what happens when we try and control and dominate the horse as well, is it just equals more of the same fears coming to us.
I love the minute you said that basically you can just, anything you say about horses, you can just substitute with life.
Yeah.
And it just makes so much sense. And I just love what you said there is, we think life is big, but life doesn't know it's big. It doesn't know life doesn't know anything.
It's
right?
going to be whatever you make of it. That's one of the most famous sayings out there, right? All these sayings that my grandmother used to say, which you just think, oh, sounds like that's on a Hallmark greeting card or whatever. But then I get older, I'm like, my Lord, some of the best wisdom is those simple things that have been said, passed down through generation to generation. Life is what you make of it. We'll never have a greater creation of our own life than to choose what our reality is and how we're going to be in our life. And we can do that at any moment. It can never be taken away from us. The ability to choose how we're going to process and live the present moment of our life. And therein lies, I think, the wisdom to transcend all these fears of trying to control life.
Yeah.
Trying to make it what we want it to be to save ourselves. But if we can feel like, no, I'm already okay. I'm loved and I'm safe. And it's one of the hardest things to get a grasp on, is what I'm about to say, I think. I work on this daily and I lose it daily and try and get it back daily, is I'm safe. And to understand that, it's a greater let go of that self-preservation instinct of what being safe truly means. That if you can truly feel the whole love from within and the gift of being and what that is, then you'll find that the present moment is enough. That always tells me when I'm on the right course is when the present moment becomes enough.
Yeah.
That I'm literally thinking, if I was just alive for this present moment, that's enough.
Yeah.
So it's a big let go of all that could happen to us. And I look at humans so innocently. We all just want to live a good, long life. We all just want to live a life of happiness and everything. But the very things we do trying to make that happen is what gets in the way of it happening.
Yeah. Well, it's even just the judgment that we either think people put on us or that people do put on others. And, one of the things that I try and do is I try and spend as much time as I can in circles of people who just live different than I do.
Yeah.
And I go up to, once a year I do a solo camping trip. I go up to this campground that I grew up going to with my family. And there's no electricity. It's a campground. So there's water and it's near the Canadian border. And, the lifestyle up there is mudding and hunting and fishing and four-wheeling and stuff like that. And the community there it's just a beautiful community. And it's great people. And I would go out on a limb and say, for the most part, that politically we're probably in very different places. However, it doesn't matter when you're up there. There's no politics up there. There literally, you can see that all stays home. And a lot of people in more urban or metropolitan areas will look down on that type of life and judge it as lesser than, of like, well, mudding, that's stupid. And at the end of the day, if mudding gets someone present and just enjoying the moment, isn't that all that really matters? It's like, it doesn't matter if, for some it can be running, it can be surfing, it can be horses, it can be mudding, it can be hunting. But like, there's certain ones that are looked down upon by people, often people that I spend a lot of my time with, and I don't think, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I struggle with the judgment of simple living.
Yeah.
And even, for me right now, I made a commitment that I'm on this adventure. I'm exploring love and fear, and I'm taking a year, And people are asking me like, well, what's next? And I said, I don't know. And I am not going to even think about that until August 14th, 2016. And that's really hard to do.
Yeah.
Because I want to be present with the process.
Yeah.
Right. And, for you to kind of stay present in kind of in that place of safety and love, obviously horses. Are there other things that you need to do on a daily basis that help you do that? I mean, whether it's even just like simple things like meditation or hiking or running, whatever it may be. Are there things that, when you don't stay true to those things, you feel yourself go off the rails?
Oh, you got it. This is such important stuff, because I find that when you're in that zone, judgment fades. You know what I mean? Like when you're kind of running or surfing, right? Probably the last thing you would ever do is judge in those moments. It just wouldn't be in you because you're in a state of love. You're just feeling whole and just a state of love. And so, yes, for me, I find, let's go to the big one. And you touched upon it. It would be meditation.
Mm-hmm.
I find there's things that I do that when I get my body, it's funny when you get your body active, when you have a lot of this kind of dense, dark, heavy energy, thoughts, that judgment thoughts of others and all of that if I go jogging, like you say, all of a sudden I'm like, I'm in love with the world.
Yeah.
I do cold water swims.
Oh yeah.
So I'll go out. I just did one a few nights ago a few mornings ago in the ocean, and I'm just like, I come out, I feel like everything's perfect in the world. Love everybody. And somebody walked by on the beach, and just said hello and everything. And I just didn't even have to try, just had this great, easy, connective conversation with just somebody walking by on the beach, when you're in that state. However, the one for me is meditation. The one that if I can just sit with myself. And in the beginning, I would seek out, I have to be away from the world. You'd have to be out in the woods, be far away, and the sound of a vehicle would throw me off. And that just showed how I was trying to control things and how fragile that peace was within. Nowadays, wherever I am, I like to be able to go sit in the woods, sunrise, sunset. I like to kind of go find a place that's conducive to feeling that peace. But really nowadays, if I have a moment, I can just, really just, boom, try and find it. And some days are easier and harder than others. But there's a place within you that is beyond all of that internal chatter, which tends to be not your friend and not anybody else's friend either. And it's trying to sort through and label, that's good, that's bad, that's good for me, I'm glad that's happening, that's bad, I hope that doesn't happen. This person, what are they saying? Do I like what they're saying, or is that bad? No, I don't. I guess I'm going to label them this then. I'm going to judge all of these things that, and you can, as you get more in touch with this, you can feel it. The energy in your body just goes blah when you start having those thoughts.
Yeah.
Whereas when I can sit with myself and get very much in the present moment, and there's a bunch of different ways out there. There's an infinite amount of ways one can kind of look to find quietness and stillness within, and what we call meditation. But when you can find that place within, that peace within, that relaxation within, that connection to yourself within, where all of a sudden love starts to bubble up, starts to spark through your entire body, and your whole way of being in the world starts to shift. And the mind is there, but it's more in the back seat. It's more just a part of this rather than the focus and the lead. But it more kind of gets in alignment with this peace and connection within you. I find right then that love that I feel coming up within me for myself and my wholeness within, again, becomes how I see everybody and everything in the world, whether it be something that I'm going through, something that's happened, or whether it be something I'm experiencing, or whether it be somebody I'm thinking about, or something that they said or did, and everything that I'm trying to sort through. I'll begin to see the love in them. I'll begin to see the love in everything about them. My friend Ray Wrightsey, who's one of my mentors, says, he said once, you'll never be able to really love another more than you can love yourself. So that's the great work, is that self-love. And it does. It immediately just how you see yourself with love is how you're going to see another with love. And it opens up all the doors. You'll see the things that they have done that might have not been conducive to a connective way of living with you or with others, you'll also see the framework of why they made those choices, and you'll have a very clear picture of the fear and the pain that can lead to those things. And more than that, you'll see it in yourself, like, oh, I can relate. I've done something similar, whether it be to a small degree or even a larger degree. I've done something. You can see yourself in them and they in you. All those doors of connection open up, and it comes to be like, well, how can I best serve them in this moment? That really becomes, and it's led with love. How can I best serve them in this moment? And it might be saying something. It might be not saying something. It might be doing something. It might not be doing something. It might be just sitting there and seeing them in love and sending them love. You never can know until the moment. Only the present moment and what it wants knows. It'll never be the same way twice, brilliantly.
Yeah.
You can't say what you're going to do tomorrow. When you're in touch with the present moment, your peace within, and with love within, the guidance of that is in that present moment. You can never know ahead of time. And in that way, everything, when it comes from love, everything is of love. Whether you step forward or walk the other way, it's the same when it's from love. Love unites in that way.
Yeah. It's, as you were talking, and even as I was just kind of thinking a little bit about the trajectory of this conversation, a lot of the things we've talked about that give both of us, I don't want to say joy, but contentment in love, are hard. Horses, I've heard you say it's a hard journey, but it's worth it. Meditation is really hard. Running's hard. Surfing's hard. Cold water immersion, hard. All these things are hard, right? And I had a thought one day, and it's kind of all these things that came together. But I don't know if have you ever heard of the book The Comfort Crisis?
I believe I have. Yeah, but I haven't read it.
It's a fascinating book. Fundamentally, the principle is that as humans, we've become more and more comfortable.
Yeah.
And every time we reach a new level of comfort, that becomes a new baseline. So we seek more comfort. And that comfort's good. We need comfort. We need it to restore and replenish ourselves. However, physical comfort inhibits our ability to deal with the mental challenges we come across. And so the author advocates for doing something really, really challenging every year, that you basically are more likely to fail than be successful at something physically challenging.
Yeah.
And it made me think one day, and I've also been kind of studying a little bit of like Stoicism in terms of the philosophy, and Stoics did hard things to do hard things.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this thought one day that fear is not doing hard things because they're hard.
Yeah.
Love is doing hard things because they're hard.
Yeah.
And it just made me think about all those times where like the easy thing often to do is to avoid it. It's like if a good friend's, this happened to me, a close friend of mine's older brother recently died, very young, sad. The fear-based easy thing to do is send your condolences. The hard thing to do is to drive 3 hours to go to the services, right? And it's like, if I'm going to lead with love, that's what I need to do. He needs this, and you choose a lot of things that are hard. Have you ever thought about the connection between that and potentially kind of centering yourself in finding and staying in a place of love?
Yeah. I love listening to you speak right there. You're really able to put words on these things really well. It's the cycle of life. It's a natural cycle of kind of the rising sun of our lives, where the moment is completely new. It's completely new, it's pure, it's innocent. And then it rises into a growing and a flowering and a dancing, like the southern warming sun, I'd call it, where it's summer. It's abundance. Like, woo, look what we've grown. This is great. Let's dance. Let's have joy. Let's laugh. And then the cycle of life is, if you just look at every single thing in existence, is that what comes after that is the western setting sun. The days start to get a little darker. The colors change. All of a sudden, things aren't growing as much, and what they're happening. And we can't be afraid of this word. It's in balance with life. It's dying. There's death, and we go into the dark. We go into the unknown. We lose our way. We get a little lost. It's natural. And what's going to happen? And then it moves into the northern cold sun, where the light starts to return. The winter solstice. Okay, the light starts to return. It's still cold though. Right? It's still kind of dark. It's still cold. It's still challenging now. There's challenge now. It's natural, but the light's returning. We're finding our way, and it's a new way now. It's a new way we didn't know. Right? And so we're more in touch now. We're more knowing of how to find our way. And so what comes with that is a strength, a perseverance, a wisdom. That we then want to share. We find our own way, and we share that with the world. And what happens? Oh, the new day rises. Here comes the spring sun again. Light's returning. And we're feeling pure. We're feeling innocent again. We're feeling good. And it goes right back into abundance again. Right back into celebrating what we've become. So it's almost having a proactive dance with this. The idea of, okay, here's the beginning. Okay, I'm going to walk out towards this water. And every time I go for a cold water swim, or winter plunges, some people call them, I don't think I'd call like excited. I'm always a little nervous. Yeah. I've done a lot of them now for, I think, 10 years. I don't know, but I'm kind of like, and I'll start to go, do I have to do this? I'll start to fidget around. Sometimes I'll get on my phone. I'm like, what am I doing? I'm procrastinating, all these things. And I'm like, do I have time? Maybe, all these ideas of why I shouldn't do it. Now, why do we do those things? When I come out of that water, I feel like $1 million. My body, my mind, and my soul are aligned, and they are strong. They are steady. They've been brought into that alignment. I feel young again. No matter, whenever I come out of that water, I feel like I am going to live forever. And so by going, when I walk up to a horse that also says, people have said, oh, be careful, Chris. This horse has kicked this many people. This horse has run away. This horse has run over 10 people. Nobody can get near this horse, Chris. And many times what my fear is not so much of getting hurt, but I'm going to do something that at the end of the day, I walk away that I regret. That I was too hard on that horse, that I pushed them too hard, or maybe not enough. It's more on that emotional connective side of, wait, did I just force this horse? Did I accidentally force this horse to do things that it was not ready to do? That it was basically the reason why it's run away from the past 5 people is because it was scared, because it has pains in its body. Nobody has heard, so it doesn't feel listened to. So it's just going to think that I'm going to be like everybody else. And so those fears are just there as much. More those internal fears of driving away, going, oh, I dominated. I was forceful. I can feel it welling up in me with emotion right here. How many times where I'd walk away feeling guilty, feel shameful. And it especially used to happen a long time ago when I was in front of people, where I was known as being good with horses. And so I got very attached to that notoriety. Yeah. And that, because of what it gave, for that lack of love I could give myself, it filled in those holes. Yeah. Well, people love me because, look, I'm good with horses. And so if I didn't look good with horses, then, oh boy, those inner fears were brought right to the surface. Those are probably the hardest fears I've ever had to deal with, were those ones there. But I know now that on the other side of them is something so worth it and so beautiful. It's such a freer, deeper way of living, where you are more free of fear than you could ever imagine. And with that, life opens up. Yeah.
It's fascinating when you talk about that identity of, well, people love me because I'm good with horses. Yeah. And undoubtedly that's true. You are good with horses. And as you said that, is like, I respect that you're good with horses. I love you because I see your humanity through horses. And it's like, I think that is, yeah. And you let and that is just, one thing I so admire is the way you let your humanity shine in everything I've ever seen you do, whether it's the books you write, this conversation, the walk we had. It's just, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's one of those things. I have another, he's a mentor of mine. He's a wilderness. He's kind of my wilderness mentor, a guy named Michael Douglas. It's the same thing. His connection to nature and helping people form a deeper connection to nature. It's like you two are the same people. You just have different methods for how you do it, and it's just it blows my mind. I admire both of you so much. The thing I love about having these conversations around the fire is, when it gets to this point, it primes the final kind of thread of conversation I want to have. And I just have to express how grateful I am that you're willing to do this. I'm so excited to be able to share this with people. But we start a fire and we tend the fire, and I always like to think of fires as a metaphor for just about everything in life. And as you think about, and before we get into the conversation, we were talking about, where we are in the world right now. And I like to think that we have some fires we need to tend in the world. We have some fires we need to tend in ourselves. We have some fires we need to tend in community. There's so many fires that need to be tended.
Yeah.
When you think about the fires that we really need to tend in the world right now, what do you see those are the big fires we need to tend?
What a great question. Oh, we've been talking about them. Like when you were speaking right there at the beginning, about the idea of letting humanity show. I had a vision of what it was like back when I was trying to hold up this vision that I thought the world needed to see me as, in order for me to feel love and feel worth and feel needed and feel accepted and kept and all of that. And it felt like I was holding up like this just giant boulder that was on top of me the whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to hold it up so it doesn't squish me. I'm like, they gotta see me as this guy good with horses. I gotta be a good writer. I gotta be published. I gotta do this, and people and all of that. And it wasn't like it was one moment, but I can say this: it wasn't hiding from those fears. It was about looking at that boulder and trying to say, what is that? Where is that boulder? What is it? And it's bit by bit, is putting another log on that fire and saying, I'm going to walk forward into this. And when I needed help, having help, asking for help. It's there, it wants to come. And it's letting go of the form that it comes in. It can be a stranger, it can be a good friend, it can be a therapist, it can be a circle. You ask for help out loud to the sky, and then get ready for it to come. Notice it when it comes. And then tell all your friends, hey, I need help. I'm looking for help. People are looking to help you stoke your own fire. It's one of the best ways to stoke your fire is to stoke other fires.
Yeah.
So people, give them that chance to help you, because they're right there ready. And I always say, it's there. If you ask for it, it comes in a million ways. And what happens is all of a sudden that big boulder, it gets smaller, and you're not making it smaller with your strength. You're making it smaller with your vulnerability. You're making it smaller and realizing that it's not that big. You've made it big, by trying to hold up something that doesn't need to be held up anymore. And that your vulnerability, that boulder shifts to something you stand on. When it shifts to vulnerability, you're now standing on that boulder and it lifts you up higher. And when others see you stoking your own fire and putting logs on of your own vulnerability, then that gives them the inspiration and permission as well to do the same. Mm-hmm. And you'll find that becomes the new strength. There's nothing stronger than that, than vulnerability. Because then all of a sudden you start not to be able to be hit. There's nothing you're trying to protect and defend and force and all of that. Anything in life becomes okay. You start to see the love in it. You become a very safe individual that way. And other people feel like they can trust you. Horses certainly can. Yeah. And so then the world opens up, other people's worlds open up, and people feel safe to have conversation about the tough things, about themselves, about each other, about community, about the country. And it's truly bit by bit. I used to think when I was younger, oh, how many people can I reach? For me, there's nothing stronger than what you embody by taking care of who you are and then trusting how that will echo out into the universe. And bit by bit, day by day, moment by moment, how you've come to see your own life is how life will then look like around you.
That's amazing. I love the analogy of the boulder, and just I was having a conversation with another one of these conversations, and we were talking about how the idea that vulnerability is a weakness is probably the greatest hypocrisy out there. Because like being vulnerable is basically acknowledging the fact that if I open myself up and shit goes bad, I can recover.
Yeah.
That's vulnerability, right? And so the idea of trying to carry this weight and burden to all of a sudden being able to have a new vantage point to stand on is just like, it's amazing. It's amazing. I love it. And yeah, I as you were saying that, there's a big part of that was I was looking at a mirror of myself in terms of just the expectation that I need to reach a certain number of people with what I'm doing, right? And I have to keep reminding myself, if I do, great. If not, this is also about me. This is kind of, this is for me.
Yes.
And my own understanding of things. And I think if we can just stay in that place where if we are true to who we are, and at least this is what I was hearing you saying, if we stay true to who we are, and we recognize that we can't do it alone, and we tend that fire in ourselves to ask for help, all of a sudden we have a community where everyone is tending our mutual fires.
They can't go out.
Yeah.
And then they can't go out.
They can't go out. They can't go out. I love that. Again, thank you so much for doing this. This is going to be so much fun to listen back on, other than the fact that I have to hear my own voice every time I do this. I hate listening to my own voice.
Same.
Right?
I always think that way too. I'm like, that sounds like somebody else. That doesn't sound like me.
Yeah. I'm more like, oh my gosh, I sound like an idiot. But thank you so much for opening your space to me, your home. Just going out on a kind of a limb and sitting down and talking with me. This is a joy. This is a joy. I'm so excited to offer this up to people. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of value from what you have to say, and hopefully we'll bring more people to horses.
Yeah, and their hearts too. Like when you reached out, Jeremy, I knew right away the powerful place that you're coming from here. And like you, I always thought too, I'm like, we tend to grow up thinking like it's kind of taught to us, oh, the more I can and all of that. And I think, that's not what if our intention is like, I think to myself, if my intention is to help the world, the universe goes, okay. And then I might talk to one person all week, but they could be a future world leader.
Right?
They could be a 16-year-old now, and then give them 30 years and they become a world leader known all around the world.
Yep.
And the conversation we had affected them in some great way.
Yep. And that was actually the only conversation you needed to have.
Right.
That was the most meaningful conversation that's going to have ripple effects through the rest of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
As opposed to it's the quality and not the quantity. So
yeah. So that always helps me have peace.
I love that.
Follow that heart, and then trust,
Yeah. Again, thank you so much. This has been amazing.
Jeremy, thank you so much for this. I love this conversation. And thanks for what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.